In the quiet waters of central Mexico, beneath floating gardens, ancient canals, and centuries of history, lives a creature that feels almost unreal. It looks like something from a fantasy movie. It smiles like a cartoon character. It moves slowly, like a ghost underwater. And yet, it has powers that even science fiction can't fully explain. This is the axolotl. Welcome to Echoes of the Wild, where we explore the hidden stories of nature, stories that feel like myths but are completely real. If you love cinematic animal documentaries, subscribe to Echoes of the Wild and tell me your favorite animal in the comments. Now, take a deep breath, because this is the story of the animal that refuses to die. The axolotl is a salamander, a type of amphibian, but unlike frogs and most salamanders, it never grows up. It never leaves the water. It never turns into a land animal. It never goes through the dramatic transformation that most amphibians experience. Instead, it stays young forever. Its feathery gills float gently beside its head, like underwater flowers. Its tiny legs move slowly across the lake floor, each step soft and delicate. And its wide mouth curves into what looks like a permanent smile, almost as if it knows something we don't. Scientists call this neoteny. It means the axolotl keeps its baby features for its entire life. Most amphibians change as they grow. Tadpoles become frogs. Salamander larvae develop lungs and walk onto land. But the axolotl refused that path. Somewhere in its evolutionary history, it made a different choice. Stay in the water, stay young, stay alive. An adult axolotl can grow up to 12 inches long, but it never loses its baby face. It never loses its external gills. It never loses that soft fin running along its back and tail. It's like evolution pressed pause and never hit play again. While other creatures transformed, adapted, evolved, the axolotl chose permanence, chose simplicity, chose to remain what it always was. And here's something even more fascinating. Under certain conditions, the axolotl can transform. If the water disappears, if hormone levels change, if scientists introduce certain chemicals, the axolotl can go through metamorphosis. Its gills shrink, its skin thickens, it develops lungs. Within weeks, it can become a land-dwelling salamander. But there's a price. Transformed axolotls live shorter lives. They lose their powerful regeneration abilities. They become ordinary. So in nature, most axolotls choose to stay young, because for them, staying young means staying powerful. It's a choice that most of us never get to make. But the axolotl makes it every single day. To understand the axolotl, we have to travel to where it all began. Mexico City, one of the largest and busiest cities on Earth. But beneath the roads, buildings, and millions of people, ancient waterways still flow. This is Lake Xochimilco, or what remains of it. Millions of years ago, this entire valley was covered in massive lakes. 5 interconnected lakes stretched across the landscape, crystal clear, teeming with life. The ancestors of axolotls lived on land nearby, returning to the water to breed. But slowly, some of them stopped leaving. The water had everything they needed. Food was everywhere. Predators were fewer. Those who stayed survived. Those who left didn't. Generation after generation, century after century, millennium after millennium. And over millions of years, the axolotl was born. Not by humans, not by science, but by evolution itself. When the Aztecs built their empire here, they found these strange creatures swimming in their sacred lakes. They called them axolotl, a word from the Nahuatl language meaning water monster or water dog. But to the Aztecs, the axolotl was more than an animal. It was a god. In their mythology, axolotl was the twin brother of Quetzalcoatl. When the gods demanded sacrifice, axolotl refused. He fled into the water and transformed into this creature to escape death. So, to the Aztecs, the axolotl was sacred, a symbol of transformation, a symbol of survival, a creature living between life and death. They watched these creatures glide through their canals. They saw them heal from injuries. They saw them refuse to age. And they understood. This was something divine. For thousands of years, axolotls lived quietly in these lakes. They hunted, they bred, they survived, unknown to most of the world, hidden in plain sight. Then, in the 1800s, European scientists discovered them. Specimens were shipped to laboratories in Paris, London, and beyond. And scientists realized something shocking. This wasn't just another salamander. This was a living miracle, an animal that broke the rules, that refused to conform, that held secrets no one had ever seen before. They studied it, dissected it, tried to understand it. Papers were written, theories were formed, and the axolotl became one of the most studied animals in science. Today, wild axolotls exist only in a few canals in Xochimilco. The Great Lakes are gone, drained to build the city. The city has grown. Roads replace rivers. Buildings replace habitats. The water has changed. What was once pure is now polluted. Most axolotls you see today, pink, white, golden, live in laboratories, aquariums, or homes as pets. They are bred in captivity by the millions. But the wild axolotl, the dark, ancient creature of the lakes, is almost gone. A ghost in its own home. In the wild, axolotls are carnivores. But they are not fast hunters. They are patient hunters. They don't chase prey. They don't stalk prey. They wait. An axolotl can stay motionless for hours, days even. The world moves around it. Fish swim past. Plants sway in the current. Shadows dance across the lake floor. But the axolotl waits. They have poor eyesight. They see shapes, movement, light and dark. But they feel everything. Along their skin are tiny sensors, electroreceptors, mechanoreceptors. They detect vibrations in the water, the slightest movement, the faintest pulse. A worm moves. The axolotl feels it. It doesn't rush. It moves closer, inch by inch, and in a split second, they strike. Their mouth creates a powerful suction, pulling prey inside instantly. Worms, insects, shrimp, small fish, gone. The axolotl has tiny teeth, but not for chewing, for gripping. It swallows everything whole. In captivity, they learn patterns. A shadow above the water means food. A hand reaching in means feeding time. They swim to the surface. They wait. They take food gently from fingers. But in the wild, life is not so simple, because axolotls are not just hunters. They are prey too. Birds hunt them from above. Herons, egrets, their sharp beaks pierce the water like spears. Large fish hunt them from below. Invasive species introduced by humans compete for food and eat their young. Carp, tilapia, fish that were never meant to be here. Axolotls are slow. Their tiny legs aren't built for speed. Their bodies aren't streamlined, so they hide. Under rocks, inside plants, buried in mud. During the day, they are invisible. They blend into shadows. They become part of the landscape. They cease to exist until the sun goes down. At night, they come alive. They explore. They feed. They search for mates. When it's time to reproduce, males perform a dance, releasing chemical signals into the water. It's slow, deliberate, ancient, a ritual millions of years old. Females lay hundreds of eggs, attaching them to plants. Each one a promise. Each one a chance. Each one a future. Weeks later, tiny axolotls hatch, perfect miniature versions of their parents. No tadpole stage, no transformation, just small versions of what they will always be. Born young, staying young, forever young. But the axolotl's greatest power is not hunting, it's healing. If an axolotl loses an arm, it grows back. If it loses a leg, it grows back. If its spinal cord is damaged, it heals. Even parts of its heart and brain can regenerate. No scars, no permanent damage. just perfect restoration. When an axolotl is injured, something extraordinary happens. Special cells gather at the wound. They form something called a blastema, a group of cells that can become anything. Bone becomes bone. Muscle becomes muscle. Nerves become nerves. Blood vessels become blood vessels. Within weeks, a brand new limb appears. Not a scar, not a stump, not a deformed replacement. A perfect limb, identical to the original, fully functional, as if the injury never happened. This is not just healing. This is biological time travel. The axolotl rewinds its body and rebuilds itself. It can do this multiple times, lose the same limb over and over, and it will regrow it every single time. There seems to be no limit, no exhaustion of the process, no running out of regeneration. An axolotl can lose up to 40% of its heart and regrow it, perfectly functioning. No loss of capacity, no weakness. It can have its spinal cord severed and repair it, reconnecting nerves, restoring movement, returning to normal. Even portions of its brain can regenerate, memories intact, behavior unchanged. The axolotl remains itself. Scientists around the world study axolotls for one reason. They want to know why we can't do this. Humans can heal cuts. We can mend broken bones. We can fight infections. But we can't regrow limbs. We can't repair severed spinal cords. We can't regenerate damaged organs. We scar. We compensate. We adapt. But we don't regenerate. The axolotl genome is massive, 10 times larger than the human genome. 32 billion base pairs, the largest genome ever fully sequenced. Inside that DNA are instructions for regrowth, repair, and renewal. Genes that turn on after injury. Genes that tell cells to become young again. Genes that coordinate perfect reconstruction. Researchers dream of a future where humans could heal like axolotls, where spinal injuries disappear, where amputees regrow limbs, where damaged hearts repair themselves, where stroke victims regenerate brain tissue, where paralysis becomes temporary, where permanent damage becomes a thing of the past. The axolotl may hold the key to that future, this smiling creature, this ghost in the water, this ancient being, may teach us how to heal ourselves. But here's the tragedy. The animal that could teach us how to heal is disappearing. In 1998, scientists estimated there were 6,000 axolotls per square kilometer in Lake Xochimilco, a thriving population, an ecosystem in balance. By 2008, that number dropped to 100. By 2014, just 35. In one survey, scientists searched for 4 months. They found 0 wild axolotls. For a moment, the world thought they were extinct in the wild. Then, a few were found, hidden, isolated, surviving. But barely. Today, wild axolotls are critically endangered. There may be dozens, maybe hundreds. No one knows for sure. The lakes were drained to build the city. 5 massive lakes became a concrete jungle. Pollution filled the water. Sewage, pesticides, heavy metals, chemicals from factories and homes. Invasive fish destroyed their habitat. Carp brought from Asia, tilapia from Africa. They eat the same food. They prey on axolotl young. They dominate the ecosystem. A paradise turned into a battlefield. What was once crystal clear is now murky. What was once abundant is now empty. What was once home is now hostile. But there is hope. Conservationists are restoring canals, filtering water, removing invasive species, creating protected zones. They've built axolotl refuges, small pockets of clean water, safe zones where wild axolotls can breed without threat, breeding axolotls in captivity to save the species, universities, zoos, conservation centers, raising thousands, studying their genetics, preparing for the day when they can be returned to the wild. Local communities are being educated. Children in Xochimilco learning about their living heritage. understanding that the axolotl is not just an animal. It's part of their identity, part of their history, part of their future. Millions of axolotls now live in aquariums and laboratories around the world. Pink ones, white ones, golden ones, colors that would never survive in the wild. In a strange way, the axolotl has become two creatures. The wild axolotl, ancient, endangered, barely surviving, and the captive axolotl, colorful, abundant, living across the globe. One represents the past, the other represents the future, and both are the same animal, living in different worlds. Imagine a single axolotl swimming quietly in a canal. It doesn't know scientists study its DNA. It doesn't know it may help cure diseases. It doesn't know it is sacred, endangered, and legendary. It only knows how to survive, how to wait, how to heal. The axolotl is a paradox, an animal that refuses to grow up, yet has survived for millions of years. A creature that can regenerate almost anything. That may not survive humanity. In Aztec legend, the god Axolotl transformed into this creature to escape death. And somehow, the story became real. It has escaped death again and again. Through evolution, through regeneration, through time. It survived ice ages. It survived volcanic eruptions. It survived the rise and fall of empires. But can it escape us? Can it survive the one threat it was never evolved to face? Us. The axolotl can regrow its heart. Can we learn to protect ours? If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to Echoes of the Wild for more hidden stories from nature. Like this video, and comment the animal you want me to explore next. The axolotl is not just a strange creature. It is a living legend, a symbol of survival, evolution, and mystery. And somewhere in the quiet waters of Mexico, the echoes of this ancient creature still remain.